Hello, hello. Welcome to the Five Talents Podcast. I'm your host, Abel Pacheco. I interview the top commercial real estate investors and industry experts so you can learn from their experiences. So if you're an investor, a high W-2 earner, or real estate or tech sales professional that wants to invest in real estate without having to manage properties or leave your day job, then this podcast is for you. Or if you're already investing in real estate, but you're doing it part-time and you want to become a full-time multifamily or full-time commercial real estate investor, this podcast is for you too. You're going to learn a ton. You will learn from real-life multifamily investors and other professionals in the industry. They're going to share their blueprints for success, and I'm super excited that you're here. So I hope you enjoy the show. Hello, hello. This is Abel Pacheco, your host for the Five Talents Podcast. We are super excited, as always, because we have another amazing guest for you, Mr. Kevin Brenner. Kevin, how's it going, brother?
What's up, Abel? Thanks for having me on the show, man. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Man, I'm excited because every time I've heard you speak on Clubhouse, on some webinars, and seeing your posts on LinkedIn and driving some value, I know the people that you partner with, it's going to bring some value. So anybody listening right now, you want to grab a pen and a piece of paper. If you happen to be running or driving and you're doing a podcast thing, you may want to rewind this one later when you get to the house. So it'll be a fun one. So Kevin, before we kind of get going, just wanted to tell you again, man, thank you for being generous with your time. You've got a lot of things going on. And for those that don't know Kevin, he is a University of Miami graduate. He has a bachelor's in atmospheric science. That's a title, man. A top Pentagon Air Force meteorologist. And he's not your typical Wall Street fund manager, that's for sure. So he spent a lot of years really getting a lot of education in himself, in what he does in multifamily syndications, money, how it works, et cetera, et cetera. And he is, I think, invested in hundreds of millions of dollars of real estate, one way or the other, across 7-something crazy thousand doors. So he is one of those individuals that has a lot of knowledge in this space, commercial real estate and syndication funds and all kinds of fun stuff. So let me turn it over to Kevin. Brother, give us a proper introduction. Tell us what you do at Nimbus. Tell us all the things that you're doing today.
No, man, I appreciate the intro, and you pretty much hit the highlights there. I'm still active duty Air Force, captain of the United States Air Force, work at the Pentagon. That's still a thing. I'm still in Washington, D.C. And, I do wear a lot of different hats. Obviously being a meteorologist is not what you would, think about multifamily syndication or commercial real estate or real estate educator or author or anything like that. It's like two different worlds. I go into the office and no one knows anything that I do on the side. And then I come out here and no one knows anything that I do in there, but that's all good, kind of like separation of church and state a little bit, but it works. And I will in fact be getting out of the Air Force in the next couple of months to do this full time. By the end of the summer, I'm going to be Mr. Kevin Brenner, not Captain Kevin Brenner. Molly. And it's going down. It's happening. We're doing this full time. It's going to be a blast. I cannot wait. Those numbers you're talking about, that's all part of Nimbus Capital and what we brought together as a team. And I gotta shed some light on the team and on our partners on that one. But yeah, it's cool, man. Lots of things going on, and I'm excited to be here and excited to share with your audience anything that I can.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a good one. Also thank you for your service, brother. I know you spend a lot of time.
Appreciate it, man.
And also helping others that are in service today. So Kevin's the host of Active Duty Passive Income. They have like 250,000 downloads, and he's got an amazing influence in the network and helps a lot of others, understand what advantages they have and how to maneuver through being active or retired servicemen or women for the country, and how to leverage those things for real estate. And so, man, that's awesome, man. I'm thank you very much. And then, like you said, author as well. So that's cool, man. Why don't you tell us a little bit about like what it is you do exactly with Nimbus. And then I have some more background questions about your service and that kind of thing. I want to see how it all comes back together, but tell us what
Yeah.
you do, currently at Nimbus.
Yeah, so Nimbus Capital, I'm the founder and CEO. It's a private equity firm that specializes in SPVs or special purpose vehicles. And really, what we are, we created this hybrid fund model. It's a unique model that we offer our investors, and really kind of built out our niche in this micro private equity state. So, for those of your listeners out there, if they're familiar with family offices and larger type private equity institutional capital, a lot of the times those institutional capital, when they go and work with syndicators, or syndicators need money for their deals, those institutional capital players, the bigger players, will say, sure, yeah, I'll invest in your deal, but we have a $5 million minimum investment, and we have all these mandates that you have to follow, and you have to play by our rule book and all of this stuff. Oh, and I need all these special, stipulations and how we're going to get our money returned. And it's usually a big headache for the syndicators. So where I came in is, I'm a solutions forward guy. So I came in and said, what if, I went to all the syndicators in my network and vetted them, extensively. And I came in and said, hey, what if I worked with you at a micro level? What if I came in and wasn't like regular private equity and said, hey, what do you need for your deal? Let me bring that 19 to 24% primary LP position, whatever it is, let me do that and work with you on a human level. Strip all the mandates away because we know you, we know your deal, we like your deal, and we all speak the same language, because a lot of these family office guys, they just don't speak the same language as commercial real estate guys. Commercial real estate is typically a small fraction of their diversified portfolio. Some of these family office people know nothing about it. So, coming in from that angle, we created something really special. I built an awesome team at Nimbus Capital, and we've partnered with 8 high-performing syndicators around the country that are in 18 different markets, over 7,800 units with $506 million in assets under management. And they're all really high performers, all operating in the 150 plus unit value add space of multifamily. And we kind of all come together. They bring us a deal, we underwrite it to the fund level, we raise capital at the fund level, and then the fund, invest into their deals as primary LPs. So it's an awesome win-win model, and we're finding really a lot of traction from the investor side. We work a lot with high performing agents. I call them HPAs, high performing agents and power brokers. So a lot of my investors are making a ton of money recently. The real estate market's been so hot the last 2-3 years, the single family side. And I help these agents who have made all these commissions, who are now accredited. They don't even know that they're accredited. They don't know what that means. They don't know what doors that opens for them. And you go and show, hey, you're grinding really hard. Let me help you build some passive income. Let me get another stream of passive income for you that's working, so you don't go and spend that commission on something that just doesn't make any sense, or you buy that Mercedes right before the end of the year because you think that's a tax break. Now let me show you what a real tax break is, and you break that down to them, and we've gotten a lot of traction there. And then finally, Nimbus Capital is about philanthropy, and it's very near and dear to my heart to work with the good folks at Active Duty Passive Income, who I currently work with, and some nonprofits like Veterans Community Project to help end veteran homelessness by the end of the decade. There's a little over 34,000 homeless vets, which is a very solvable problem. And organizations like VCP, Veterans Community Project, what they do is they build tiny homes and community centers in cities all over the country. And then they put they place the veteran in the house, and they're living there for a year, and they're getting all of the, food, shelter, they're getting job training, and it's a whole program. And at Nimbus, we allow our investors to directly donate, and then we have a matching program, a very generous matching program, with a goal of raising $50,000, which builds a home for their St. Louis community, and for VCP's St. Louis community, and takes a vet off the street for a year. So that's my kind of step one goal. But the big picture, man, dude, it's making an impression on the world, giving back, and I think that a lot of people get lost in the sauce in this industry, and they make a bunch of money and don't know what to do with it. And I'm not going to be that private equity guy.
Boom. All right, brother. So many things going on here to kind of unpack. And man, that's incredible. I love the opportunity that you're providing to people from the investing side, and then also afterwards the profit side, and helping people that need help that have served our country. And that's a great cause and a great mission. And I love it. I love every bit of it, man. So nice work, man. How long have you been doing this with Nimbus Capital? How Your founder, president kind of
Mhm.
thing? How long have you been doing that with Nimbus?
So we started kind of, it actually started with the pandemic. I've had this idea for so long now of, kind of making this happen, and this idea in my head. And, I stumbled and, kind of put it off like everyone does with a good idea. And then finally, they sent us home from work, and they're like, "Hey, you're teleworking. It's like March of 2020. Everything's going haywire." And I said, "Okay, I'm never going to get another opportunity to take action against this idea than now. It just doesn't, doesn't
Yeah,
happen."
yeah.
So, it was a crappy time for the planet, and we're still in bad times, and there's a whole awful lot of people dying. But, I was able to kind of make lemonade out of those lemons, um, and work on it. And really, we kind of launched in January of 21 with our branding and everything like that. And we have our first opportunity live now, Stratus Fund One, and it's a $5 million fund. And we have the deals lined up, and they're fantastic. And it was a lot of building the team, building the partnerships, and doing all that stuff. And it's going to be a wild ride.
All right, there we go. So how the heck does one go from being what was the technical term again? Atmospheric
Marine and atmospheric science. That's my that's
marine and
my degree.
atmospheric
Yeah,
science, a meteorologist for the Navy, right?
the Air Force. Air
The Air
Force.
Force. Sorry,
Mhm.
forgive me. For the Air Force. And to go into real estate, like, okay, so first
Yeah.
let's take this down one bit at a time. Why this degree and why this area for you first? When did you realize, hey, this
Oh
is what I want
man.
to do, and you started pursuing it?
Yeah, this is throwback. So, in college, University of Miami,
Yep.
high school, I grew up in northeastern Pennsylvania, and wasn't really my thing. I didn't like the cold. I just had to get out of the small town, and I pointed on a map, what's the furthest place so that I could go? And I ended up in Miami, and I
Hmm.
did ROTC. So when you do ROTC, and I got a scholarship and everything, so I was lucky enough to get a scholarship, and kind of set me off from there. And so initially I wanted to be a doctor, and then I got into organic chemistry. I said, screw that. I think I literally, like, my first exam in that class, I got like a 27 on the test, like out of 100, and I'd studied for like hours. And I was
Yeah,
like, all right, you know what?
or
Maybe
probably not my gig.
this thing's not for me. But, so in the Air Force, they only let you choose certain majors. If they're paying for your school, they only let you choose certain majors because they obviously
Yeah.
want to groom you to something. So, anything medical was on there. They need doctors. And surprisingly enough, anything meteorology was on there. So I was like, all right, this is kind of cool. I mean, like, I could do this. And I did it. And and it's been a lot of fun. And came out into the Air Force, second lieutenant, and started at Scott Air Force Base in St. Louis. Um, Worked there, and then I moved down to Georgia, where I got attached to an Army unit, did some deployments, going back and forth, doing a lot of Army training and all of that fun stuff. And that's really where I hit my stride with real estate, is when I got back from deployment, flush with cash, spending it as quick as I got it, and then realized, like, oh man, this is not good. And
Yeah,
a
yeah,
buddy
yeah.
a buddy of mine threw me Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I read that, and I was like, whoa, I need to take a good hard look at my life right now. and I talked to him. He was a military guy, an Army guy, and he was purchasing single family homes, just scooping up these single family homes and putting tenants in them, and like really doing the model. And so I was inspired by him, and did a bunch of research, and ended up buying a quadplex down there, with my VA loan. So zero down VA loan quadplex, cash flowed from day one. Still have that in my portfolio, and it still cash flows. And then I just started adding and building more of these small apartment buildings to my portfolio, and kind of got into it. And that's where I ran into active duty passive income, started adding a ton of value, and the rest is history.
All right. Congrats, man. What a story. I guess just even getting into it, I think I resonate with a lot of what you said. Uh, a lot of guests of ours mentioned Rich Dad Poor Dad
Mm-hmm.
somewhere along the way, probably 70-80% of them at least. We were blessed to interview Sharon Lecter, who's the co-author for
Mm-hmm.
Rich Dad Poor Dad. She was a podcast guest, and then also Greg Reed as well, which kind of had that partnership early on with Kiyosaki and them. And to hear this over and over and over again, the light bulb moment goes
Yep.
off for a lot of us. Your situation is probably resonates with every person that's in the military, is when you come back with all this grip of cash and you start spending. And I think on my side, in the IT world, I was making more money, and my purchases start to get bigger. Oh, nicer house, a bigger car, bigger,
Mm-hmm.
nice things. And I go, all these things do nothing for my retirement or ability to just quit working early. And then there's real estate, and it's like a light bulb goes off. And congrats on making the action or taking the action. Hello. You're listening to the Five Talents Podcast. I'm your host, Abel Pacheco. If you're enjoying this podcast, then I know you're serious about achieving financial freedom. Are you ready to create your own path through multifamily investing for yourself and your family? Then I know you're going to appreciate our Investor's Guide to Multifamily Investing. It's titled Tackling Commercial Real Estate the Easy Way. We use this guide to invest ourselves in $93 million worth of real estate. So we're going to show you the basic mechanics of multifamily syndications and how to evaluate your next passive investment opportunity. So the best part, if you subscribe to our podcast now, leave us a review and a rating. I'm going to give you a free copy of our ebook. So please take a moment to do that now. Once you've done that, go to 5tcre.com/ebook, 5tcre.com/ebook. Make sure to let us know you left a review, and we're going to send you a free copy. So thank you so much for subscribing to the Five Talents Podcast. We really appreciate it. So for everything that you learn, I guess, from in the military, there are, I know, some very great lessons that you probably still apply today. So I would be amiss if I didn't ask you, tell me about some of those lessons that you've learned in the military and through service that you still apply today, so we can all learn from these.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot that that crosses over. I think leadership, being taught the skills of leadership, were really, really, really important. And to be fair, most people aren't put through the gauntlet that any military officer is put through. And I'm not saying I'm some sort of Navy SEAL or anything like that. I'm not Jocko Willink or anything like that. But at a general level, just learning the skills of leadership and being able to practice them immediately out of college is impressive, where you're just put into this role right away. Where in corporate America, you get out of college, you're the bottom of the totem pole. In the military, you get out of college and you pin on as a second lieutenant, you are, outrank 80% of everyone.
Wow.
So you got to think about that. There's only, of the force, 20% are officers, the rest are enlisted, and you automatically outrank it. And, they could have 30 years of service, and guess what? They got to call you sir. And it's weird, it's a weird thing. But by that position, you either kind of, they throw you out there to the wolves, and you either kind of sink or swim. And applying those principles to the team that I built and the way that I run Nimbus is great. Also, I'll say core values. Adopting the Air Force's core values, really, really important to helping me develop my own internal core values. It's really shaped me as to who I am, and it's helped me, verbalize my core values, my mission, and my vision to with Nimbus, with active duty passive income, with everything, having that, that integral part of you shine is important, not for other people, but just for your own success. I mean, you have to have a grip on those pillars, to build, this foundation of success. And if you don't, then you're only going to get so far. Money's only going to make you so happy. And you really need to understand your why and have that strong core. And the military's helped me out there. And I think, I mean, just the constant lessons, man, team building and learning and applying and rinsing and repeating. And I you know I reflect more on this, and it's hitting me a little harder as I'm getting out. The closer I get to taking off the uniform, the harder it gets. Because like while you're in, it's like, God, I freaking hate this. I mean, I was up at 4:30 this morning to go to work. Like,
yeah,
that gets old really quick. But then I know that the last day that I put that uniform on is going to be tough. So, it's not, it's just one of those things. And probably getting too real for your podcast right now, but
no, this is great. This is exactly what we wanted, and we appreciate it, because there's so many other individuals that maybe are in your exact same position or something similar, and just to have the ability to learn from your years of service is very helpful. The leadership lessons, I kind of didn't realize that the graduating with your degree in that position puts you in a second lieutenant over 80% of everyone there, and you're an immediate leadership position, probably at a very young age. And I can reflect. I was like, when did I first become a leader? I think I was 24, 25 the first time I led a team at work, and it grew pretty quickly. But it was 25, 26. I was over 60 people ish, and I remember the lessons that I learned then. When I went to my next job, I wasn't a leader. I was an individual contributor, for years in that tech world. And I could apply, though, all of those leadership lessons into my role. I was a better employee. I was a better follower. I was a better, floor leader, not by title, just by the very activities. But it's because those years early on. And it sounds like you had a little bit of the same. I love the core values, mission, vision. If we're not focused on those things, then we're just kind of spinning our wheels for what, right? To make more money, or to do more deals, or more transactions, or what's the purpose, right? And I think that higher purpose all puts everyone on the same vision, mission alignment, and then the team building. Everything we do in this business, at least commercial real estate investing, typically, if you're one of the 95% of probably people that do it, we all do it together as a team, one way or the other. So yeah, man, those are great lessons. Thank you so much, Kevin. Appreciate it, brother. So, okay. So you're in it, you're doing that. You kind of come to that realization, I need to go to real estate. And then from that to Nimbus, what were some of the next hurdles or obstacles or challenges you had to work to just to get to where you're at today, like starting this fund and getting going?
Yeah. So I mean, I owe most of this to active duty passive income. So the story, and this is a really valuable lesson, I think, for anyone who's getting started, anyone who wants to be successful. And Abel, you've done a fantastic job of this. So if you want to get started in this business, you do not become an innovator. This is not the business for innovation.
Yeah.
Find someone who is doing what you want to do, emulate them, copy them, and execute. It's really easy. And you want to know the person that I copied and I continue to strive to copy? It's Brandon Turner, Bigger Pockets. And I was blessed to interview him on the Activity Passive Income podcast. And I asked him that. I told him that. I was like, I'm copying you. And he was laughing. He's like, yeah, a lot of people tell me that. But at heart, he's a marketer. Yeah. He is a fantastic marketer. Great real estate investor, blah, 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 all that stuff. But his passion is marketing. And when, I was kind of adopting that, and in my head, I was on the way to work. I had a 45-minute drive to work from Savannah down to Fort Stewart, Georgia. And I would listen to the podcast, the Bigger Pockets podcast, all just religiously, just listening to this. And, I figured out, how can I be like him? I read his books. How can I be like this guy? And finally the time came, I found active duty passive income. I was like, whoa, this is like my people. Like, I didn't know this existed. And when I joined the Facebook group, there was like maybe 1,200 members. And I just started adding value, just making posts. I did, they had this thing like, hey, if you do a 30-day live challenge, we'll like send you a coin. So I did 30-day live challenge. And I was adding really quality posts because at this time I had just closed on my second quadplex and I was in the military and I was like, man, I could probably help, some 1,200 people here. This is kind of cool. So doing these Facebook Live videos, blah, 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 doing this stuff. And finally, Mark Yancich, the CEO, calls me up one day. He's like, dude, you just want to work for us? And I was like, you're really good at this. You want to work for us? And I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I can pencil that into my schedule because I knew that, at that time I knew Eric Upchurch already. I knew Tim Kelly already. Like I knew because I was just in it and sharing a ton of value, writing blog posts, doing all this stuff. And I told him, I was like, yes, however, I want to be involved with the podcast. And he said, okay, well, let me think about it. And Mike Foster is my co-host, well, the original host. And, just thinking about it. And I was like, well, let me take a look at how you guys are doing your production. Let me add value. And I went and did a whole reproduction of the entire podcast, the entire show, reorganized it all, brought in new guests, kind of how we do the back end of it. And the back end of podcasting, there's a lot that goes into it, right? And we were all self-editing at the time, and it's a lot. So after I did that, lo and behold, a co-host spot opens up. So I start co-hosting on the podcast. Yeah. And that entire process, and now I'm helped write a book for them, and doing the director of single family education. I created a mastermind for all single family military real estate investors out there. So 1 to 4 units. I teach everything from short-term rentals to BRRRR to buy and holds to tax liens to like how to do all this stuff, how to get started, house hacking, all that stuff. And we compile all that, and then along this entire way, I'm learning so much about business because this is a startup. And now we have over 20,000 members in the Facebook group that's growing exponentially, 1,000 members, 2,000 members a month usually. And we're learning all this marketing stuff, and just I think I owe them like an MBA. Like people go to like Georgetown or something in DC to get their MBA. And I think I learned so much from just doing it that I'm now applying that to Nimbus, and I'm finding great success.
Boom. I love it, man. What a great story. I don't know how often you've shared that or not, but that contribution to their program, to their group, by default, you didn't ask for permission. You just started, you were providing value, you were helping others. You got the invitation to join the team. I could tell you that at work, in my professional side, and as an IT sales professional, I worked for a company called Rackspace for years. And my biggest roles at that company, which it was growing so quickly, so there was always roles popping up. But my biggest ones, I didn't really interview for. They were given to me just the exact same way because I just put on a hat and I said, you know what? We need this right now. I'm going to go do it. And then somebody said, which was my VP, Caleb, he was like, hey man, you're already doing this role. Why don't you come in and see if you can help me? And I'm going to be gone. Actually, he said, I'm going to be gone for a couple months. Maybe you can help me while I'm on vacation, and just go do it. And I started and then came back and he's like, hey man, this is your gig. I said, all right. But it's that same mindset of providing value, giving service, not waiting. You're already taking action, and you're
don't
helping
expect
a bunch
money.
Of people.
Don't expect to get paid. Just do it. And the stuff that you'll learn by just doing it is far more valuable than the whatever the $20 an hour that you'd expect for like just do it.
Yeah, I love it, man. What a great lesson for a lot of us, and time to also some of the first things you said. Don't innovate, just emulate it, copy it, and then execute it. Do it again and again and again. You're gonna have success. Well, that's awesome, man. Well, before we go, Nimbus Capital, tell us like the last couple of minutes before we split, right? What is it that you are doing today that we can help you with? So who do you want to reach out to you? Why should they go talk to you? Tell us, also how to contact you, et cetera, but spend a few minutes, please, on Nimbus, and how can our listeners provide some value to you as we're thinking about this?
Yeah, I appreciate it, Abel. Yeah, so really at Nimbus Capital, like I said, we're a series of SPVs or special purpose vehicles or funds, right? So each of these individual funds we raise capital for, we go and invest that capital into all of our partners and all of their deals. So what we're really looking to do is provide solutions, and I provide solutions for high performing agents in the single family side and brokers. I call them HPAs and power brokers. And you're probably asking, what is an HPA? What does that mean? I sell houses. I'm pretty good. Typically, a high performing agent is selling 10 to $20 million of real estate per year, and they are making money hand over fist, and they don't necessarily know what to do with it from a wealth building perspective. So my solution that I provide folks is I help them one, create another independent stream of passive income, which is really, really important, right? You can invest. And when you invest in a Nimbus fund, they're very competitive. So this fund, we're talking 15% plus IRR. That's internal rate of return. We're talking 2x equity multiple. So you double your money. You invest $50,000, you get $100,000 of profit. You're doubling your money. And we shoot for a 10% average annual return. So that's like your average annualized return is 10%. So all double digit returns. And oh, by the way, that's not even talking about all the depreciation. That's 100% pass through. So I know your listeners probably know about depreciation, but from the single family and HPA and power broker side, they kind of get it, but it really hits home when I talk to these folks is how much money are you paying in taxes every quarter? And I know some of these agents who are paying 10, 20, $40,000 a quarter in taxes. Abel, that's a lot of taxes.
Yeah.
So if you found vehicles like a fund or a syndication or something that was able to, I don't know, reduce your taxable income, you might think about that, right? So the biggest thing I tell folks, who are interested in investing in one of my funds is it's got to be a fit both ways. It's not just like, hey, Kevin, I like, you take my money. No, it doesn't really work like that because these are exclusive funds. And I want to know that you're in it for the right reasons. And we're in it to not only help you, but also, make an impact on the world, because I'm not only going to convert you into a passive investor, I'm going to convert you into an impact investor. You're going to make an impression. And that is really, really important to me. So having that back and forth, having that conversation is important, but then also figuring out if this is right for you and this kind of opportunity, because they are relatively exclusive. But that being said, we do, like I said, Stratus Fund 1 is open. It is a 506C. It's for accredited investors only. And it's only a $5 million fund. And we're going to diversify that $5 million across 6, 7, 8 different projects that we already have lined up. So it's going to fill up very quickly. If this is something you're listening and you're like, man, I'm kind of interested, all I need you to do is go to www.risewithnimbus.com, RISEWITH, Nimbus, NIMBUS.com, or just shoot me an email, kevin@risewithnimbus.com. I'd be happy to talk you through it and see if it's a good fit.
Rise with Nimbus makes so much more sense now.
Yeah. So Nimbus, by the way, Nimbus means like, cloud in Latin. So it's cloud in Latin. There's the meteorology. Yep. You got it now.
I love it, man. This has been a fun conversation, brother. Is there anything else we didn't hit on that you wanted to highlight or bring additional exposure to, or maybe just some last, wisdom or nuggets for anybody listening?
Yeah, I think everyone on the podcast definitely check out Veterans Community Project. I mean, obviously, if you want to work with us, work with Nimbus and work through our matching program, you make more of an impact. That's great. But if you don't want to invest with us, still check out Veterans Community Project, because they are doing some really, really incredible things for our homeless veteran population out there. And they are truly one of those organizations who are making a difference. And, I'm proud to be working with them, but I think that they need as much exposure, more than Abel, more than Kevin, more than everyone. Let's highlight the people who are making a real difference in the world, not just making money.
I love it. Connect me with whoever I can over there, and we'll get them on the show and we'll interview them and
absolutely
put the nonprofit out there. So that'd be great. That'd be awesome. And then if somebody has a deal and somebody wants to put a nonprofit in one of their deals, I'm sure they can gladly choose VCP as well, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I can, if you want to connect on that, just again, shoot me an email, kevin@risewithnimbus.com. And I have all their contacts. I know their CEO and I can make it happen.
Right on. All right. Well, this has been awesome. Kevin, I appreciate your time. The generosity is just really good conversation. It's a pleasure learning from you, and we'll figure out how to continue working together in the future, my friend.
Absolutely. Thanks, Abel. This has been really fun.
Yeah, and if you're not on Clubhouse, Kevin's all over it as well. So there's another avenue to get into his world. And for those listeners, whether you're passive or active investors, I know you got some value from today's show. What I would love for you to do is go to our podcast, subscribe, rate us, leave a written review, go reach out to Kevin, tell him you heard us here, and would love to stay connected with you all. So thank you very much for listening. Kevin, you're the man. Thank you, brother.
Thanks, dude.
All right. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you for listening to this episode of the 5 Talents Podcast with your host, myself, Abel Pacheco. Each week, we're going to bring you interviews from industry experts and commercial real estate investors who followed their dreams and achieved massive success. Before you leave, let me ask you a few questions. Did you enjoy this episode? Did you learn something valuable? Was your mind stretched to what's possible and what you can achieve? Do you want other experts just like the one you heard today? If you answered yes to any or all of those questions, then please take a moment to subscribe to the 5 Talents Podcast, give us a 5-star rating, and most importantly, leave us a written review. Tell us what you liked, tell us your favorite guest, give us any feedback. I'm excited to learn and improve so you can get a more valuable show. So thank you again for subscribing to the 5 Talents Podcast.